Salve, this is Dave, and today we're going to read from Cicero's oration against Cataline. And this is a passage that is contained within the Ecce Romani textbook, part 3. This is the textbook that I originally learned Latin from in the late 1980s, although it is a different edition. It's changed quite a bit, actually. But anyhow, if you're interested in learning Latin or ancient Greek, give me a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you are interested in learning, look me up. My info is in the description. You can contact me that way. I tutor Latin and Greek as a side gig in my free time and would love to help you on that journey. So anyhow, let's look at this oration for context. Catalina, the gentleman referenced here by Cicero in this speech, is plotting a coup d'etat in Rome in which he plans to slaughter most of its current leaders and seize power, and he has armies waiting for him to carry this out. And Cicero is trying to convince, with Cataline sitting right there, by the way, is trying to convince the Senate to act, to take up arms, and to basically counter him and prevent this from happening. And so it's a really great speech. It's a very famous speech. It has some lines that are pretty well known. And we will go through, and this is a section that I think is one of the most famous. So here we go with the first sentence, which is, quo usque tandem abutere, Catalina, patientia nostra. So the this word here, abutere, okay, is the verb. It is not an infinitive the way it might look to you if you've have just a little bit of Latin, but this is actually a variant on the second person singular future indicative of the deponent verb abuteor, to abuse. So what it means is you will abuse. Okay, so it's another form of abuteris. So, and abuteor takes an ablative object. So that's what patientia nostra is, our patience. So what this means is, quo usque tandem, finally, to what end, to what extent, right? To what point, Cataline, will you finally abuse our patience? Quam diu etiam furor iste tuus nos eludet. Quam diu means how long, okay? And etiam, like and also even, furor, madness, iste, like this blank of yours, this damned madness of yours, tuus, nos eludet, makes a mockery of us. So how long, okay, will this madness of yours make a mockery of us? Quem ad finem sese effrenata jactabit audacia. So verb here is jactabit. It will hurl or throw, and it will throw sese itself. And what will throw itself? This effrenata audacia, this boundless or unbridled audacity. So quem ad finem then is to what end, right? Toward what end will unbridled audacity throw itself? And I think he's talking about Cataline's boundless ambition, of course, to seize Rome by force. Okay, so then this next sentence is very long, and basically what it is Cicero asking Cataline a series of questions. Hey, haven't you noticed, or hasn't it moved you, is the exact language, or haven't any of the following things moved you? He's basically saying, don't you see the signs that were onto you? And he says, nihil ne te nocturnum praesidium palati, nihil urbis vigiliae, nihil timor populi, nihil concursus bonorum omnium, nihil hic munitissimus habendi senatus locus, nihil horum ora vultusque moverunt. Okay, so have not the nocturnum praesidium palati, the nighttime defense of the Palatine Hill. Okay, this is a very specific reference, of course, but this is a part of town where a lot of important people lived or stayed or would have done business, and they need to be protected from this plot, basically. So going back for a second, then let's start over again. Has the nighttime defense of the Palatine Hill, the Urbis Vigiliae, the night watches of the city, the fear of the people, the gathering of concursus bonorum omnium, the gathering of all good men, or the assembly of all good men, the hic munitissimus habendi senatus locus, this place of this most well-guarded place of holding a session of the Senate, the forum ora vultusque, right, the mouths and faces of these men here, pointing to his fellow senators, have none of these things moved you, is what he's asking. Moverunt, right? In other words, haven't you noticed that we've kind of, taken some precautions? Okay, and he's going to go on further in this vein. Patere tua consilia non sentis. Okay, so this is an example of indirect statement where you have a verb like sentis, which means to you feel, but it's a verb of sensing or thinking or believing or saying or something like that, with an infinitive and an accusative. The accusative is going to be the subject of the infinitive. So do you not sense that tua consilia, your plans, patere, are laid bare? And then another one of these, non vides, do you not see, coniurationem tuam, that your plot, teneri constrictam, is being held, restrained already, yam, horum omnium scientia. Scientia is knowledge, right? By the knowledge of all of these, again pointing surely to the senators around him, right? That and the knowledge of all of these, and maybe even of he's talking about the men who are doing, holding these overnight watches to make sure that the city isn't attacked. Quid proxima, quid superiore nocte egeris, ubi fueris, quos convocaveris, quid consilii ceperis, quem nostrum ignorare arbitraris. Okay, so the main verb here is arbitraris. Before we talked about indirect question, but this is indirect statement. This is indirect question, which uses subjunctive verbs. And it's where you say, for example, you talk about a question to which you're going to give the answer, right? You're not actually asking the question as much as you are saying, hey, arbitraris, do you judge, quem nostrum ignorare, do you judge that any of us is unaware or does not know, ignorare, okay? Quid proxima, quid superiore nocte egeris, what egeris you were doing, or what you did, proxima nocte, last night, superiore nocte, the night before. Okay, so do you judge that any of us does not know what you did last night and the night before? Where you were, ubi fueris, quos convocaveris, whom you were meeting with, quid consilii caperis, and what plans you were making. Okay, concilium capere is like an idiom meaning to make a plan. Okay, even though capere normally means like to seize, but that's what it means. Okay. And then he says one of the more famous lines from Cicero, maybe the most famous line from Cicero, O tempora, O mores, which is like, O the times, O the morals. It sounds much better in Latin. It seems to make more sense in Latin than it does in English, but I love this line and we'll jokingly use it for like, somebody eating buffalo wings with ranch dressing, O tempora, O mores. But really, he's being very serious here. He's saying, what have we come to that this could happen? Senatus haec intellegit, consul videt, hic tamen vivit. So he says the Senate understands these things. Okay, haec is these things. It is the neuter plural accusative, not the feminine nominative singular form of hic, haec, hoc, this. So the Senate understands these things. The consul sees them. Okay, the consul is like the co-executive of Rome. I guess you would say that if you wanted to compare it to our system, you would say he's the you would have two consuls, and then the Senate is the deliberative body. Hic tamen vivit. So this man, however, lives. Vivit, does he live? Okay, and then immo vero etiam in senatum venit. In fact, okay, he even comes venit in senatum, into the Senate. So, I mean, he's sitting right there while Cicero's making this case against him, by the way. So not only is this guy alive, he's actually coming here into the Senate. Fit publici consilii particeps. He makes himself, or he makes as if he is a participant in publici consilii, the public plan, like he's he's acting just like he's here to govern right alongside us, right? Is what he's saying here. And then notat et designat oculis ad caedem unum quemque nostrum. So he marks et designat, you could say, and designates with his eyes, oculis, unum quemque nostrum, each one of us, ad caedem, for the slaughter. Nos autem fortes viri satisfacere republicae videmur, si istius furorem actella vitemus. So here we have videmur is going to be our verb for nos, and that is the passive of to see, which we translate as seem. So we seem, however, we seem fortes viri, brave men, right? Satisfacere republicae, to do enough for the republic. Si istius furorem actella vitemus, if vitemus, we avoid, like, inevitable, right? If we avoid the furorem, the madness, actella, and the spears, istius, of this damned man. Something along those lines, right? And this, the note on this sort of says this is a bit sarcastic, that he's sort of saying we think we're good just for, like, surviving this guy's plot, but we actually need to take action, is what he's trying to say. And then he says this, chilling perhaps, ad mortem te, Catalina, duci iussu consulis, iam pridem oportebat, in te conferi pestem, quam tu in nos omnes iam diu machinaris. So what is he saying? Well, we'll look at the first part first, up to oportebat. So Cataline, he says, it was fitting, right? It was already, okay, iam pridem, it was already a long time ago fitting, te, duci, for you to be led. Duci is the passive infinitive of ducere, to lead. For you, it was a long time ago proper for you to be led ad mortem, to death, iussu consulis, by order of the consul. And then he adds, in te conferi pestem, quam tu in nos omnes iam diu machinaris. In te conferi, for the pestem, right, for the destruction, which you, machinaris, are plotting now for a long time against us all, in nos omnes, in te, to be conferred upon you, right? For the destruction to be conferred upon you, which you, against all of us for a long time, have been plotting, or are plotting. Okay, so there you have it. pretty cool stuff. That is Cicero, and if you are interested in all things Latin and ancient Greek, you want to learn, just see the description, and I will see you in the next one. Voile.